Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome back to another game review. Today I'm gonna be reviewing Control, and yeah, finally after 3 weeks that I've finished this game, I'm finally making a review, so yoo-hoo. Anyways guys, as usual, I'm quickly gonna go through the story of this game to tell you in short what the game is all about. Then I'm gonna share my opinions and thoughts about this game, so in case you didn't play it, one big spoiler alert across the screen. And yeah, just click away from this video and come back after you play a game if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to, it's totally okay. But if you really are interested right now in my opinions and thoughts about this game, then stay with me till the end of this video and let's get started. Alright guys, Control is a game released in 2019. It's been developed by Remedy Entertainment, it's been published by 505 Games, and it's been developed in Northlight Engine. The game is third-person shooter slash action type of a game with very complex story that you have to listen to really carefully and watch for the details to understand, because this game has really complicated story and it's so hard to understand. So anyways, the story of this game follows Jessie, the character you play with through this entire game. At the beginning of the game, she comes to this bureau agency building, whatever you want to call it. So basically what this building is, something similar to X-Files. So this building is basically the building of an agency that works on paranormal cases. So whenever there is an alien contact or some paranormal case or whatever, they are first to be there and investigate what is going on, and they collect all the samples, data and everything they bring back to this building and store it over there. And Jessie comes to this building to look for her brother that she lost a very long time ago when they were kids. So basically what happened when they were kids, they found a slide projector that somehow managed to open the portal to another dimension, and something called Polaris came through that portal and got inside the Jess. And this Polaris thing is, well, some sort of energy that flows through Jess and leads her through this game. And after that thing with the slide projector happened, that incident, the agents from Bureau Institution came to where the portal was opened. They took Dylan from Jessie and they took him to that Bureau Institution. And then this Polaris thing that flows through her told her to go there and look for her brother. And when she comes to this building, she finds the director of this Bureau Institution dead. He shot himself with a service weapon, and service weapon is basically a pistol that is like some sort of a energetic weapon. It can transform in different shapes, and only the director of Bureau Institution can handle it. And she was chosen to be the next director of Bureau Institution by this board. It's something called the board, and it's never explained in the game what the board really is. It's just upside down shaped pyramid object that talks in some strange language, and you can understand it, that there is no way you can understand it, so you have to read like the subtitles at the bottom of the screen what this board is telling to Jess through the game. And they choose her as the director of the Bureau Institution. And now when she becomes the director of the Bureau Institution, she's on the mission to find her brother, even though she does not want to accept that she became the director of Bureau Institution. And she meets some people through the game. They explain her that something called Hiss has corrupted this building, and it got inside people's minds, and they just go crazy when they get infected with that Hiss thing. Also, game never really explains you where does the Hiss come from or whatever. I guess you can find it out by reading all the files and listening to all the audio logs and everything. So this game really wants you to explore it. So to understand the full story of this game, you have to read fuck ton of files that you collect through the game, listen to fuck ton of audio logs that you find through the game, which is in my opinion very boring, very boring and very annoying. I almost didn't read any of these files and listen to almost any of these audio logs. It's just very boring way to tell the story to a player. But anyways, yeah, this hiss thing is the main thing you fight against in this game. There are many different enemies in the game that are infected with this hiss thing. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. I'll talk about that later when I come to gameplay. But anyways, you just fight this hiss thing, and you want to find your brother. You search for the answers, what happened to your brother. And another thing that Jess now can do when she became the director of Bureau Institution is that she can absorb the power from power of objects. So basically any object inside this Bureau Institution building, it could be a remote control for a TV or a fridge or TV or whatever, you know, it's just a normal looking object that we all have in our house or whatever. And this object is actually not a normal object. It contains this alien power or whatever, I don't even know how to call it. And through the game you find a bunch of these and you interact with them. Jess has to do a bunch of things, and then you absorb the power and you get that power and you can use it later in the game. So she is basically the only hope against his, and the entire building is under the lockdown. So the entire game is set inside this huge complex, inside this huge Bureau Institution. It's one giant building and it's under lockdown because these agents, they don't want to let his outside of the building because it will mean the end of the world. And you are on the mission to fight that his and to find your brother, and that's pretty much the entire story of Control as far as I got it. Like I said, there is a lot of questions unanswered at the end of the game. There is a lot of questions you ask yourself when you finish this game. This game gives you more questions than answers in the end, and the reason for that is because this game wants you to go and read all the files that you collect through the game. And trust me, there is a lot of them, really a lot of them. So this game is officially the weirdest game I have ever played in my entire life. And this game was developed by the same guys who made Alan Wake games and Quantum Break game. So this game is very similar to Quantum Break by the gameplay and everything. Just I would say it's even better than Quantum Break. And Quantum Break was also a game that had really complicated story. So it's really hard to understand the story. You really have to listen to what characters are talking to you, to pay the attention to all the details. When I finished the game, I even had to go on the internet and read what I just played, because this game is super complicated. And without these audio logs and files that you collect through the game, if you don't listen to them carefully, and if you don't go through them and read all these files and listen to the hotline. Basically what hotline is another power of object. It's a phone, and Jess can talk on that phone with the board, and also they tell you a bunch of things, and she also can talk through that phone with previous director that killed himself, and he gives you some tips and tricks how to lead the Bureau Institution. He gets you to know with the things and how things work here. So yeah, this game is like really complicated. The story is just so complicated that at the one point I just wanted to quit the game. And I don't really know what to think about the game, this game's story. I really have mixed feelings about it. One part of me wants to say that the story is really good because of its complexity and a lot of things to pay attention and all the details to pay attention to. To some people that might be interesting. One part of me wants to believe that, but then other part of me says that that's really boring, and you have to read all of these files that you collect and everything. It's really boring way to show the story, and I don't know. Altogether, the story is good, but the way a game is telling you the story is very boring. So that's the point. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright guys, let's now talk about Control's gameplay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Control had a great gameplay that I absolutely enjoyed. I enjoyed every second of this game's gameplay. It's really stunning and amazing. The main thing I absolutely loved about this game is its physics. This game has definitely the most realistic physics I have ever seen in a video game, like ever. And I respect developers for like their time they took to develop such a realistic physics in a video game like this. I mean, shooting all the things around you and seeing those things breaking and flying around depending by the mass of the object, and depending where you hit it, how you hit it, what weapon you hit it with. Also the details where you can pull the concrete block from the ground or from the wall with the pickup ability and then throw it into your enemies' faces. It's so realistic, seeing every single piece of a rock falling on the ground and staying over there, not disappearing, and just the amount of objects that render in the same time in the environment, and all of these objects can be moved in combat by explosions or you picking it up or just shooting it. It's just really amazing and stunning. I remember this game having great fence details. The hitboxes are so precise. When you shoot the fence, it's gonna break exactly where you shoot it, and not entire fence is gonna break, just the part you shot, and depending by the angle and the way you shot it, it's just really amazing. So this game has absolutely fun and stunning physics, which makes this game really fun in the gameplay. It's just so much fun to play with the physics of this game around. I mean, the game is not called Control because of its realistic physics, it's called Control because of something else, but anyways, it kinda fits nice that this physics with the name of the game. It's really controllable physics, I would say, you know. It's really nice. Then the combat in this game is based on shooting, aiming, taking cover. You can go crouch in this game. You cannot take like cover behind walls like you could maybe in Quantum Break or some other games that were developed by these guys. No, there is no like take cover button in this game or whatever. You just move around with WSAD, and with C you can crouch, and that way you can hide behind walls or whatever, you know. Everything pretty much can be used as the cover, and again, that's where this realistic physics comes in. If you take the cover behind the table, it's not gonna be a really good cover. I mean, wooden table is easily penetrated by bullets, so it's not really good cover, but wall and concrete blocks are much better cover, for example. So yeah, the combat in this game is based on, like I said, shooting, aiming, and using your abilities, your shield ability, your grab object ability, and then throwing it back into your enemies' faces. Enemies have different types, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Some are stronger, some are weaker. You have healers, for example. Sometimes there is a little bit of tactic in the gameplay. It's better to take out the healer first, so you can easily take out other enemies. So the combat, I would say, is pretty creative. At one point of the game you will also obtain flying ability, which makes combat way more fun. You can just fly around and shoot the enemies that are also flying. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. Then weapons. Weapons can be upgraded on all control points. Control points are something similar to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, those little meditation points. Basically, control points work the exact same way like these meditation points in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. When you reach this control point, you'll either have to kill a bunch of enemies first to clean it, or just claim it, or clean it without killing enemies, depends from control point. And when you claim this control point, the fast travel option will be opened to other control points, and there is one main control point in the first room, in the first control point that you clean. Over there you can change your character's outfits. You can do slightly some different things that you can do on other control points. But yeah, only outfits can be changed on this main control point in the game. Outfits are obtained through the game by completing different quests. Also, this game has a bunch of different quests. You have side quests, you have main quests. You can go and talk to characters and listen to what they say, and then you can ask them questions that you like. Click and select the questions you want to ask them, and then they tell you something. Then you go there, explore that, complete that quest. Yeah, weapons and skills can be upgraded from these control points. Also, you level up your powers, and when you level up, your enemies will level up as well. Don't worry, this is not really RPG game, but it does have some tiny RPG elements. You can collect, for example, mods for weapons, and then you can put these mods on the weapons, so you can make them stronger. For example, you can put more headshot damage on the weapon, or you can put the mod for faster healing, and maybe for a faster recovery, faster reload. The amount of bullets is always infinite. Your gun just kinda overheats when it runs out of bullets, and then you wait a few seconds and it will recharge, so you don't have to collect ammo or whatever. And that's the only weapon you have in this game, that service weapon. But like I said, it's really weird. It can change the shapes, and you can upgrade it. So you can have like the spin, that's like automatic medium range weapon. Then you can have a pistol, normal, like a revolver, single shot. Then you can have this kind of a ray weapon that shoots the charged ray, and you can have a shotgun. So yeah, it's all on the same weapon. It just transforms its shape into a little bit different looking gun, and then you can shoot this different type of weapons. These mods that I talked about for upgrading your weapon can be found around in the chests that lie around the map, around this bureau building. You just go explore the environment. You can also explore the environment for these files and audio logs and everything, so you get to know the game a little bit better. Game also has boss fights that can be intense sometimes. Some of the bosses are really easy to beat, some are harder to beat. There are those mini bosses as well. So some parts of this game really does remind me of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, these games have almost nothing in common, but some elements are very similar. So yeah, map is, like I said, just pretty big building. That's all. You can open this map to see where you need to go, so there is no indicator on your screen like where you need to go. You have to use the map. HUD is absolutely minimized in this game. The only HUD you'll have is when you pick up the mod, and you can see the health bar in the bottom left corner, and that's pretty much all the HUD, and your crosshair for aiming, of course. So yeah, this game is just that way. It has minimized HUD. It's story oriented combined with a very good gameplay. Enemies also have health bars above their heads. Exactly the same thing like we had, for example, in Wolfenstein Youngblood. So yeah, this can be totally compared to that. This is pretty much how the enemy level up and combat works in this game between you and your enemies and leveling up. So yeah, I would say this game has also pretty controlled gameplay, and it's nice. It fits nice for this game. It does take some time until you get used to it. At first it might feel really slow and boring, but later when you obtain some stronger abilities, and when you obtain this flying ability like I said, and upgrade your weapons a bit and your Jesse, then game becomes much more interesting, and it's fun. It's fun to play, definitely. This huge building is so huge that it has those signs. You can also orient yourself around this building with these signs. You come to them and you read, and they have the arrow pointing where you need to go to reach that thing that says, like that area that says on the sign. So yeah, that's also pretty interesting. It was a little explorational aspect of the game that's also really interesting and useful in the same time. So yeah, final thought on the gameplay. Gameplay is very fun. It gave me all I expected from a game like this. It does take some time until you get used to it, but altogether really nice and controllable gameplay that fits with this game and suits it pretty well. Upgrade system is pretty simple, and the way things work, nothing is really complicated. There is not too many RPG elements that are minimized, and yeah, altogether nice, enjoyable little shooting, third-person shooter. Alright guys, well, for the end let's talk about controls, graphical design, and optimization of this game. As you can see, the game does look stunning, that's for sure. I cannot deny that. I think no one can. Game does really look like a next-gen game. The amount of details in this game is absolutely crazy. The engine for this game is crazy. The game looks absolutely stunning, that's for sure. I ran it on all ultra settings, 60 FPS, 1680 by 1050 resolution though, because that's my monitor resolution. And these are my PC specs. My GPU is AMD RX 560 4GB DDR5. My CPU is AMD FX 8320 octa-core Black Edition, 3.50 GHz, and my RAM memory is 16 GB Kingston Fury Black Edition, DDR4. So yeah, these are my PC specs. They are not the best. They are kind of mid specs, and I ran this game in all ultra settings and 60 FPS. So yeah, this game doesn't require buffy PC to play this game. All medium and PCs will be able to run this game in 60 FPS on all ultra settings. You can only imagine what you can do with high-end PCs, because this game does have the support for ray tracing on PCs that have NVIDIA graphic cards. So if you have RTX 2080, sorry, and those really strong graphic cards, you can even enable like ray tracing and all these cool effects, and I can only imagine how good does this game look then, because right now with these settings the game looks stunning and runs smooth. You can only imagine what's then when you do it. So yeah, the optimization of this game is perfect, I would say. I didn't experience any major glitches or bugs. Sometimes bodies are clipping through the walls or something like that, but that's because again this game has those realistic physics and ragdoll and everything, and I think it's kind of impossible to really make everything work completely fine. But those things that I've mentioned with bodies clipping through the walls and stuff are not that common, so I guess they can be ignored. So yeah, there is no stuttering or frame drops or long loading screens or whatever. It runs smooth. When you die, game loads pretty quickly. If you fall down some hole or whatever, the game will just immediately put you back through a little fade screen, put you back from the place that you fell. So there is no even loading screens in those situations, which is pretty good. And those mistakes are common in a game like this, when you have some parts where you have to jump around and do a little parkour thing, even though this game doesn't have any parkour moves or whatever. But yeah, altogether very well optimized and very good looking video game. Definitely stunning looking video game, and visually it's very impressive and enjoyable to play. So yeah, I think I said everything about this game. So this was one really good third-person action shooter with a lot of exploring elements and some little tiny RPG elements. I think characters could be a little bit more interesting, and they could express more emotions on their faces. They could have worked on that a bit more. The most annoying thing and largest downside to me is the way the game is trying to tell you the story through these audio logs and files that you have to collect and read. I mean, I'm honestly a person who doesn't have time for that. I usually don't read books or whatever. That's really boring to me. I'm not saying that it's bad or whatever. It's very enjoyable hobby for some people, but to me, reading is like when you have to read and read and read and read that ton of stuff. It just gets really boring to me. So yeah, that's one huge downside for this game, in my opinion. If there was no that, and they actually try to tell the story through these characters, there is a bunch of characters in this game. There are really quality characters and could be interesting characters. So if they wanted to tell you the story through these characters, and I felt like they were lazy to develop more into characters and their emotions and things they say and do. So I think they could have done that much better, instead of listening to all of the audio logs and reading all these files and exploring the environment. Like, for example, you're never gonna uncover the full story of this game if you don't go to that area and pick the file or audio log from the table and listen to it or read it, which is pretty stupid. So you don't kind of even give me the chance to get to know this game story completely, because I don't think it's like fun to go like and find all the audio logs and files. And even when you collect all of them, I think you could like just sit for a few hours and just read all of them from the beginning to end to actually understand, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna forget what you heard, and you're not gonna pick them up in chronological order or whatever. It's like really boring way of telling you the story. So that's the largest downside and issue I had with this game. But for some people that might be enjoyable. So if it is, if you're a person who likes to read and listen a lot, so yeah, go ahead and play this game, explore its environment completely. You're not gonna regret it, that's for sure. Yeah guys, so that's it. Thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then go ahead and leave a like, share, comment, or subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's totally okay. That's just as a sign of support to me. Also, you can join my Chris Facebook group as a sign of support. Also, you can go to my as.fm and leave any questions. If you have any questions, I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Link is also down below in the description. And yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this game review, and thank you for all of your support and everything you did for me and my channel so far. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I just want to say that I love you, and I'll definitely see you in the next videos. Chris out.